And so I adopted this dog. He was an abused, malnourished, and beaten pit bull. And when I went into the shelter, they had him up front at the desk, and they pretty much told us, hey, if someone doesn't adopt this dog today, he's going to be euthanized. We're going to have to put him to sleep. He's 35 pounds underweight. He's a pit bull, so people don't want him. And when I looked at that dog, I saw myself. Because the way I felt on the inside was the way he looked on the outside. And so I thought, that dog's me, and I'm him. And so I adopted that dog. And the first 6 months, that dog hated me. Absolutely didn't want anything to do with me. He would hide under the bed and whine, because all he had been is abused his whole life. So he didn't think that anyone would love him. And I was in the same boat. I didn't think anyone could love me, despite all the people who were telling me that they did. And so this dog would hide under the bed and whine, and I'd have to give him Fritos to try to get him to come out. And when he would eat the Fritos and come out, as soon as I tried to grab him, he'd run back under, and I'd have to give him more Fritos. And the dog ate more Fritos than any dog or person should ever eat. But it just wasn't working. When I tried to pet him, he would get so scared that he would urinate on the floor. And so these things happened, and this dog, I was ready to give up on this dog. I told Megan, I said, Megan, I don't want this dog anymore. We have to get rid of him. And he loved Megan from the beginning. But me, he didn't connect with. And then one day, we went down to the corrals where we lived, and there's always chickens everywhere at the corrals. And Ziggy was a weird dog. He loved birds more than anything. So we'd take him to the corrals, and then he would try to chase the chickens. And he'd do this all the time. The chickens got fed up with it, and the chicken said, you know what? There's more of us than you. So this isn't going to work out well for you. So one day he went to chase the chickens, and the chickens cornered him against a fence and said, hey, buddy, it's like 14 on 1 now. What are you going to do? And so these chickens chase this pit bull. One of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. You have this big pit bull dog, because he's pretty healthy at this time, not like when I first got him. He was like 60 pounds. He's running away from these chickens, and these chickens are chasing him. And he runs past Megan, which isn't normal, and he jumps into my arms. Literally, 60-pound pit bull almost knocks me over, jumps into my arms. And I'm not a very strong guy to begin with, let alone when I got 60 pounds coming straight at me. And so I catch this pit bull, almost fall over, and now these chickens are coming at me with this pit bull. So what do? I try to run with this pit bull, which doesn't work out well. I don't want to talk about everything that happened. But we reached this connection. And from that point on, me and this dog became inseparable. And this dog began to change my outlook on life, because he was always there for me. And while there were a lot of people that were always there for me, I felt like the dog I actually deserved to have around me, because I felt like I had changed him, because he was healthy now, and he was having a good life. And so I'd take him down to the park, and he would chase the birds. And so there'd be flocks of birds, and he'd run through the flock of birds, and they'd fly up in the air, and then land like 10 feet over here. And he'd run through that, and then they'd fly and land 10 feet over here. And birds aren't very smart, or the dog's not very smart, one or the other, whatever way you look at it. And they would do this process for like half an hour. And so while they would do this, I would just lay in the grass and think about my life, and like, how can I continue to recover? What can I do? And whenever I do that, Ziggy would normally run and jump up on my chest. So again, the 60-pound pit bull would just like body slam me on the chest and knock the air out of me. And he'd do it all the time, and he'd proceed to lick my face. Well, something you have to know about Ziggy is probably the grossest dog that I have ever seen. And the fact that this dog could probably come into this room right now and find something dead somewhere, and he would bring it to me. He would bring me dead snakes, and birds, and mice, and rabbits. And it wasn't stuff that he killed, he found it dead. And it was just disgusting. And he would always bring it to me. So he would walk up to me, and I'd be like, what's in Ziggy's mouth? And he'd be like, I don't know, what is it? I'd be like, Ziggy, drop it. And he'd walk over to me, and he'd go, bleh, and drop it right on my feet. Every time, and there's always something dead. And I think he enjoyed it, because I would proceed to scream like a 6-year-old girl. And no offense to any 6-year-old girls, but that's just not a noise that should come out of my body. But it would every single time. You know, this dog would just, it's gross. So this one day, as I'm laying in the grass, I'm laying there with my eyes closed thinking, and I hear this dog running up to me. And I'm like, I'm bracing for impact. He's going to jump on me. He's going to start licking my face with that tongue that's touched so many dead, nasty things. But that's okay. That's like our ritual. We just do it. We're weird, right? And so that's what happens. So I'm laying there waiting, and I'm bracing for it, and I'm bracing for it. And I hear him breathing, and he's standing right next to me, but he doesn't jump on me. And I still keep my eyes closed because I know it's coming. And I hear, bleh. I feel something stinky, gross, disgusting on my face. I jump up, proceed to scream like a 6-year-old girl, and I look down, and a large, dead black crow had just been placed on my face. So at this point, I'm thinking, I'm about to vomit, because I have a weak stomach as it is. So I'm about to vomit, and I want to scold this dog for what he just did, but I can't. I just laugh. And for the first time in years, I laugh until I cry. And I don't cry because I'm sad. I cry because something so silly, so stupid, so little can happen to me, and I can laugh about it now. And just a year earlier, I couldn't do that. And so I proceeded to keep Ziggy at the park, which was a bad idea. I should have taken him home right then. And we start walking up, and there's ponds at this park. And there's ducks in the pond. And this dog likes birds. The only thing that would make it better if it was a dead duck, but the ducks are alive. So he's like, I'm going to go get a duck. So he jumps into this pond and starts swimming after these ducks. And obviously the ducks can swim a lot faster than he can. He's not a good swimmer to begin with. And so he's swimming in circles after these ducks, and these ducks are just toying with him. Like, you're not going to catch us, buddy. And he's trying really hard. And at this point in time, it was the beginning of March. So it's still pretty chilly out, and it was about 7 in the morning. Because we used to jog early, and that's where we go to the park. And so he's swimming, chasing after these ducks. And I'm calling him, Ziggy, come back here. Ziggy, come back here. Ziggy, get over here. And I notice the dog started to get weaker and weaker. And his head starts to bob a little bit. And I'm like, this dog is going to drown. After all this dog has been through, all the abuse, all the malnourishment, everything, living with me, he's going to drown in a pond trying to chase a duck. This is ridiculous. And I am not going to jump in after you in this nasty pond water that's like 45 degrees. What did I do? Jumped in the nasty pond water and swam after this dog. And I'm not a good swimmer either. Like, my dog paddle's okay, but that's about all I got. So I start swimming after this dog. And when he sees me in the water, he swims towards me. And comes to my chest, and I grab him, and then he instantly stops doing anything. Dead weight. When you're in the water, 60 pounds of dead weight for not a good swimmer is not a good thing. So I go, ugh, are you kidding me? Give me a little bit of help. If anything, you should pull me in. I should go the whole to your tail, and you should dog paddle, and I should just come by you. Right? So I'm trying to backstroke and take this dog out of the water. And I finally get him out of the water. As I was swimming through the water, about 5 runners came by, and they all had the time of their life seeing this guy. Okay. And so, anyway, so we get out of the water, this dog shakes, spreading water all over me again, and for the second time that day, I laughed until I cried. And so these little things began to change my life. And without those little things, I wouldn't have what I have in this picture. Because that woman there is here today, in the front row, and she's the one that gave me the penny. And she's my wife now, and we've been married for 7 years. And so I owe everything that I have to her. Because everything I put her through, she stuck by me. And then 2 years ago, we were blessed with identical twin boys. And so now I don't do gross stuff with Ziggy anymore because he's passed on. I do gross stuff with my boys. Mud all over our faces and things like that. So without these people and these stories, I would never have this. And so this depression hit me. And it crippled me. But I didn't let it defeat me.